Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Alwin Ramirez. I'm the project manager for the proposed project we will be presenting today. Project number 608056, the Erving Gill Bridge Protective Screening Installation Project. The bridge number is E-10-014 equal to G-04009. The structure is located on Route 2 over the Connecticut River. I work in the major project section at the Massachusetts Department of Transportation, headquartered in Boston, Massachusetts. Due to COVID-19 precautions, this pre-recorded presentation will replace our usual design public hearing. During this presentation, we will explain the purpose of the hearing, provide an overview of the right-of-way procedures, and explain the design. Finally, we will explain how you can submit your comments and questions about the project, many of which can be included in the official hearing transcript. A handout has been prepared and posted to the MassDOT website along with this presentation. If you would like to pause this recording and retrieve the handout now, you will find the documentation which may be useful to you in understanding the project and submitting formal comments in response to this presentation. The purpose of this hearing is to provide an assured method whereby the Commonwealth of Massachusetts can furnish to the public information concerning the state's highway construction proposals, and to afford every interested resident of the area an opportunity to be heard on any proposed project. At the same time, the hearings afford the Commonwealth an additional opportunity to receive information from local sources, which would be of value to the state in making its final decisions towards the design of the project. The Right-of-Way Bureau is responsible for requiring all of necessary rights in private and public lands for the design, construction, and implementation of this project. Affected property owners will be contacted by personnel from the Right-of-Way Bureau or consultants representing MassDOT, the Highway Division. The procedures used must comply with state and federal regulations governing the acquisition process. The current design plan indicates that the fee takings and permanent easements may be required. Other areas may also require temporary construction easements. Affected property owners' rights are protected under the Massachusetts general laws, primarily Chapter 79. If a project is receiving federal funds, the property owner's rights are further defined under Title III of the Real Property Act of 1970, as amended. At this time, MassDOT does not anticipate any right-of-way for this project. Moving forward, you will see that the notice of the public hearing is included in page 2 of the handout. This notice appeared in the Montague Reporter and in the Greenfield Recorder on February 11th and 18th of 2021. A copy of this notice will be attached in the final hearing transcript. The project we will be presenting today is the Erving Gill Bridge Protective Screening Installation Project. The bridge number once again is E-10-014 equal to G-04009. It is located on Route 2 of the Connecticut River, the structure is. We are currently at the 25% design stage. At this juncture, the estimated total project cost is $3,085,831. 80% is federal aid funding that comes from the Federal Highway Administration. MassDOT funds will be used for the remaining 20%. This project must be programmed in the statewide Transportation Improvement Program in the appropriate federal fiscal year in order for MassDOT to solicit bids for eventual construction. The total estimated cost of the project does not include any right-of-way acquisition costs. The design is expected to be completed in the summer of 2021. Construction is anticipated to be completed within one construction season. As you may be aware, the reason for this project is that the current railing on the bridge structure is substandard. The objective for the design is to incorporate a protective screen and yet provide ample views of the surrounding landscape. A secure right-of-way is required for this project. If your property or a portion of it must be acquired by the state for highway purposes in the interest of all people of the Commonwealth, your rights are fully protected under the law. Procedures are different depending on whether the state or municipality is making the acquisitions. Please review the handout for more specific information. In a few moments, I'm going to turn the presentation over to David Comerford of Gill Engineering. He and his firm have been retained by MassDOT to provide the design for this project. Please keep in mind that the project we are presenting today is still in the design stage. All your questions and comments will be taken into consideration when completing the project's design. David will now present the project in detail. David Comerford of Gill Engineering. Hi, David.
Thank you, Alan. My name is Dave Comerford with Gill Engineering, and as Mr. Ramirez said, we will be the designers for the project to see it through to construction. So to start off, I want to identify the whole team and the role each will have through the design and construction process. The towns are the proponents for the project. They requested the state take up the project and include it on the state capital investment plan. My firm, Gill Engineering, is responsible for bringing the project through to final design. Mass Highway is responsible for administering the design and bidding process, providing oversight during construction, and they will also be responsible for the environmental permitting. Mass DOT District 2 will be responsible for reviewing the design. And finally, the Federal Highway Administration will provide funding for and oversight for the project, as Mr. Ramirez referred to earlier. This is an aerial view of the project location that connects the towns of Erving and Gill over the Connecticut River. The project limits fall entirely within the footprint of the bridge structure between the east and west abutments and lie within the state right-of-way. The total length of the project is just over 800 feet between the two ends of the bridge. And for a little background on the bridge structure itself, the structure is commonly known as a French King Bridge and is located on a scenic portion of Route 2 known as Mohawk Trail. It is one of the most iconic structures in Massachusetts, and it's known for its views over the river. The bridge also has historic significance as a landmark structure and is potentially eligible for register on the National Register of Historic Places. The bridge itself is built in 1931-32. The structure is a 700-foot long continuous steel arch truss that spans over the Connecticut River between the two towns. It provides a single lane of travel in each direction along Route 2. The bridge was rehabilitated in 1992 when it received a new lightweight concrete bridge deck and sidewalks and safety curb. So why do we need the project? Because of the height of the bridge, approximately 150 feet above the Connecticut River, the site is the location of sporadic suicides or suicide attempts resulting in fatality or injury. The primary purpose of this project is to provide a high physical barrier to serve as a deterrent to individuals that may use the structure as a platform to commit suicide. Because of these sporadic events, the towns have requested the state make improvements to the structure to help deter potential suicide attempts. project will address some other issues as well to improve safety and user access. But the primary goal is for the installation of the barrier. As noted, the primary purpose is for the barrier as a deterrent. Some other issues are the low pedestrian rail from the 1931 construction that doesn't act as an effective deterrent. Less important than the loss of life, an effect directly related to the suicide attempts are the added resources needed by the towns for first responders to conduct search and rescue missions. Other deficiencies include the deterioration of pedestrian rails, concrete sidewalk, traffic rails that were installed 30 years ago. This slide shows some images of the existing conditions and some of those deficiencies. On the left is an image of the existing 1932 railing along the existing sidewalk that received its last major restoration in 1991. Similarly, on the right is a railing along the safety walk to the east, adjacent to the eastbound roadway. These photos show typical types of the deterioration of the concrete sidewalk and the pedestrian rail system. On the left is spalled concrete at the fascia outside of the pedestrian railing. The image on the right shows the condition of the rail to the post connection at the bottom of the pedestrian rail. This slide shows the condition of the traffic rail system that was also installed on the 1991 rehabilitation project. On the left of the image, on the left, the image shows deterioration of the concrete around one of the mounting brackets, and the photo on the right shows the potential vehicle snag point and a failed expansion joint. As noted, the foremost goal of the project is the prevention of fatalities and injuries. Additional goals are to reduce the burden on municipal resources and to restore the integrity of the pedestrian rails and to provide wider sidewalk access and improve traffic safety. So the project scope and what the improvements that will be incorporated to achieve the project scope is as follows. The most significant is the addition of the new 9-foot high protective metal screen. The basis for the screen design emerged from a study through Mass DOT that evaluated alternative screen designs. The recommendation of that study was that a 9-foot high metal screen with curved top would be most suited to the project. Mass DOT reached out to the select boards of the towns of Erving and Gill, who voiced their support for the addition of the screen type that was selected or recommended, and that it be located behind the pedestrian rail. Picket spacing for the screen will match that of the new pedestrian rails for aesthetics. You will see renderings of the proposed screen in some slides that follow. Additional scope for the project includes the modification of the sidewalk and safety walk to permit the installation of the proposed 9-foot high screen outside of the railings. The width of the usable portion of the sidewalk access will also be increased from 5-foot to 6-foot cleared distance between the pedestrian rails and the traffic rails. Other work that will be largely unnoticed by the public will be the removal of an obsolete inspection catwalk from below the bridge deck. So, what is the project schedule? Currently, we are at the design public hearing milestone of the timeline. Following the public comments and review process, the design will be refined to 75% and 100% levels of submission, and finally, the contract award and construction. The 75% design will be submitted in March of this year, with 100% design coming this summer. Construction for the project will begin in the spring of 2022. How will the project affect traffic and pedestrian access? The final condition will maintain the same 40-foot wide roadway that currently exists, with the same single lane of travel in each of the east and westbound directions. During construction, traffic will be temporarily shifted using temporary barrier to create protected work zones. One lane of traffic in each direction will be maintained during construction. Because the sidewalk will be closed to permit the reconstruction, it will also be necessary to detour the pedestrian access during the sidewalk reconstruction. This will be accomplished using barriers to create protected pedestrian zones during the stage 1 construction. Some images showing the traffic, how the traffic will be shifted, are in the slides that follow. The work for the project will be conducted in 2 stages. This image shows a section looking east and how traffic will be shifted during stage 1 of the construction. It also shows the temporary pedestrian detour during the reconstruction process of the sidewalk and the protective screen installation at the northerly fascia. This slide shows stage 2 construction during modification of the safety curb and the protective screen installation at the southerly fascia. Again, the view is shown looking toward the east. Note the pedestrian access will utilize the newly reconstructed sidewalk with the protective screen installed. So, to summarize the proposed improvements, what is to be achieved from the proposed improvements and what are their impacts? The proposed protective screen will serve as a deterrent for potential suicides, and the wider sidewalks will provide increased user access. Traffic improvements will improve both safety and pedestrian access and safety of occupants of vehicles using the roadway. Because the majority of the work will occur above the bridge deck and within the existing footprint, there will be minimal environmental impacts and all work will be within the existing state right-of-way. This slide shows a rendering of the proposed screen looking toward the north. The proposed screen will be 9 foot high with curved pickets at the top. As noted on a previous slide, the picket spacing will match that of the pedestrian rail for aesthetics. This is a close-up rendering of the screen to show how the screen may appear to an individual standing on the sidewalk. As mentioned previously, MassDOT is responsible for the environmental permitting for the project. Those include filings with Massachusetts and National Environmental Policy Acts, Section 106, the National Preservation Act, which relates to the filing for historic significance, and Chapter 91 filings that relate to waterways in Massachusetts. We thank you for your participation and hope that it was informative. We welcome any comments regarding the project through the contact information previously provided.
Thank you, David Comerford of Gill Engineering. Once again, my name is Alwin Ramirez. I'm with MassDOT. I'm the project manager of this project, the Erving Gill Protective Screening Installation Project, project number 608056. As stated previously, the purpose of this virtual public hearing is to solicit your input regarding this project. As the plans are not yet finalized or complete, we may not be able to answer all your questions or respond to all your comments at this time. The last sheet of the handout is a mail-in sheet. If you have any questions or comments which you would like to submit in writing, you may use this sheet for that purpose. You may mail it in to the department within 10 days of this date, and it will become part of the official record. You may also follow the links on your screen to send us your comments or questions. Please remember to identify yourself by name, affiliation, whether you're a state official or local official, a butter or concerned citizen. Thank you very much for viewing this presentation. We look forward to hearing from you. Have a good day. Thank you.